Welcome back. 2021 tax filing season has already began on February 12th. Throughout the show, we will continue to invite tax experts to help guide you through this year's tax season. How are things different? What are some of the things you need to know? Joining us now to share more about his business and taxes this year is Jeffrey Almanzar, Senior Tax Partner at Commission ENT LLC. Welcome, Jeffrey. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for having me here. How
Yeah.
are you?
Doing well. Thank you so much for joining us. So first, for those who are not familiar, can you tell us about your business, Commission ENT LLC, and the services that you offer?
Okay, so we're a tax office based out of New York. We basically help small businesses and individual people that want to file their tax returns. And right now, our main focus is helping the small businesses, being that there's a lot of people that became unemployed due to COVID. So we're getting a huge influx in people that are venturing off into their small businesses. So we're definitely, taking a lot of focus on that. So we're a full scale accounting firm. We help people with taxes and businesses, and we create partnerships with all of our clients where we're pretty much are their go-to for everything financial at this point. So pretty much that's what we do.
Thank you, Jeffrey. And as I mentioned in the beginning, the filing season for taxes began on February 12th. What are some of the other deadlines that we should keep in mind this year?
So um the filing season started February 12th, but for a lot of the taxpayers that have dependents that file with the earned income credit, those tax returns are actually starting to process on the 22nd. So you can definitely file now, but they won't be processed till the 22nd, so they won't see a refund check till maybe the first or second week of March. So that's a big date because a lot of people are rushing to get their tax returns. Obviously, you want to do that because if you want your refund, faster, you want to be able to be in that line of having your tax return being filed. But just keep in mind that it's not going to be processed till the 22nd. So you have a time frame. So there's people obviously that want to pay their rent on the first. That's probably not going to be a possibility for those taxpayers that have EIC. And then obviously the next deadline would be April 15th when it's the tax deadline for the season. Um, One thing about April 15th is that it doesn't necessarily mean you can't file after the fact. So April 15th is the deadline to not acquire a penalty if you owe money. But if you're getting a refund, you can still file after the fact, So it's not like, oh man, I missed a deadline, I can't file anymore. And then the next thing is also an extension. So you can file for a 6 month extension, and then you can file your tax returns on October 15th.
Got you. And Jeffrey, what are some of the circumstances for people to file with for an extension? Like, are there any specific cases where people should wait to file this year?
Uh, in my experience, there shouldn't ever be a reason to not file your tax returns. You should always file your tax returns. There's a lot of people that haven't filed tax returns in years, and they just, time just flies by, and they haven't filed. A lot of people that wanted to take advantage of all these small business loans and a lot of these grants and a lot of these, help that they were giving to self-employed individuals wasn't able to take advantage of these grants because they didn't have any tax returns filed. So during this COVID time, there's so much that's unpredictable. So you want to make sure that your taxes are filed. You have stimulus checks that a lot of people didn't get because they didn't have their taxes filed. So one of the requirements to have a stimulus check is to have your 2018, 19, or 2020 taxes filed. A lot of those people that didn't get those stimulus checks now have another opportunity to claim them on their 2020 tax returns.
Okay, so just so our viewers understand, this year they can file on their taxes and report that they haven't received the stimulus check, and then they can receive that check within the refund at the same
Exactly.
time. Got
Exactly.
you. Thank you,
Exactly.
Jeffrey, for
Hmm.
clarifying that.
Yep.
Are there any, we're under a new administration, the Joe Biden administration. Are there any
Hmm.
significant changes in our taxes this year under this administration?
So For this tax year, for 2020, is still under the Trump tax federal laws. So there's not going to be any significant changes this year. So a lot of Biden new tax laws and everything that's coming with his administration is probably going to start on 2021. There's a few things that he was able to add for this tax season. One of them is being the charitable contribution. So you're able to take a $300 charitable contribution with your 2020 tax form, which pretty much offsets your taxable income. And then that will reflect a difference in your refund. Could be anywhere from 60 to 50 to $60 if you're owing or if you're getting a refund. That's what those $300 will reflect.
Got you. And Jeffrey, can you also help us define the difference between credits and deductions? A lot of times people get confused with the two, and they think that one reflects in their refund amount. Can you just help us like understand what the difference is?
Right. So credits are like earned income credit, uh, child tax credit, the stimulus checks, those are credits. And then deductions are what the charitable contribution is. It's an offset to your income, so your donations, you have the teachers, that's a credit, so there's also something we call in the accounting world the above the line and the below the line. So the above the line would be the adjustments to the income tax, and then the below the line would be the credit. So if you really look at a 1040, yeah, I don't want to get too technical with the name of the forms and all these things. I want to keep things as simple as possible. But you usually get your tax return that has 2 pages. So in the first page you see your income, and then you see whatever adjustments to income tax would be there. And then in the second page you'll be able to see the credits.
Got it. And how about unemployment, Jeffrey? A lot of people lost their jobs this year due to the pandemic and last year. Is unemployment income taxable? And what should people who lost their jobs due to the pandemic expect on their tax returns?
So unemployment has become a huge problem this tax season because a lot of people didn't get the taxes taken out. And unemployment is taxable. It's pretty much income. Um, the only problem with unemployment is that it's not earned income. So you won't get credits for children and stuff like that, but it's still taxable, so you still have to file it. So the other problem is that a lot of people started collecting unemployment during half the year. So what happens with that is that unemployment, if you did opt in to have the taxes taken out, they only take out 10%. So the problem with that is that if you made an extra 30, 40,000 at another job, and now you have this income coming in, now you're in a different tax bracket because the unemployment is only 10%, but they take that, 20, 30,000 you made in unemployment and they add it to the other 30, 40, and now you're not at a 10% anymore. So now a lot of people end up paying with unemployment because they're adding, when you collect unemployment, they're expecting this taxpayer to have unemployment be their only income. So it's only taxed at a 10% rate. So there's a lot of people, that definitely, you want to, for them not to be surprised if they end up having to pay, especially with the state, because the state takes out a lot less than the federal in unemployment. So a lot of people end up, if they don't end up paying the federal, they end up paying the state.
Right.
So that's probably one of the biggest things that's happening this year.
That's one of the complicated cases, and I'm sure that a lot of people this year are going to have a lot of complications and difficulties filing their taxes. Could you just tell us about the benefits of having a tax preparer such as yourself, help out and assist with these complicated tax returns this year?
Well, I I uh I wouldn't see anyone being able to figure this out this year, especially this year with so many things that's happening, and people are just frustrated. If the stimulus check, the unemployment, the taxes, a lot of people relocated, a lot of people moved out, so now they have to file state to state taxes, so it's a lot of different complications and forms to fill out. So I like to explain taxes, it's numbers, but to me it's a form of art. because at the end of the day, I'm creating a story, I'm creating a scenario, I'm creating a situation that happened in real time, right? So you're living your life, you're working, you're not working, you're moving, so all these things have to make sense because that's how the government's going to see it when you submit these tax returns. So a lot of people are very concerned with being audited, so you also have to be able to explain your situation. Like you can't say, oh, I collected unemployment, I was working at the beginning of the year, but now I have a 1099. So now there's another problem. There's people that are collecting unemployment, but they were still working at the same time. So now unemployment is going to go after those people to try to get those money, that money that they should have never received because they were always still working. So it's a lot of different scenarios, a lot of different complications that anyone without a tax preparer, I don't see how they're going to find the best solution, without the experience.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely. And one another thing I
Mhm.
wanted to ask, Jeffrey, was that last year the IRS stated that many tax returns were late due to COVID-19 mail processing delays. Were any of your clients affected by this? And is this a possibility again this year?
Um, I was very fortunate that maybe just out of 1,000 tax returns that I do a year, um, maybe two or three maybe were delayed, and that's also because I do a lot of the tax returns early, so that's probably another benefit to do your tax returns early is to foresee any complications, but in reality, no one could foresee a pandemic happening. A lot of the delays were happening because pretty much everything shut down. There was a lot of people in the government, a lot of people in the IRS, a lot of people in the post office that were pretty much just sent home. So you would call, try to contact a personnel. You couldn't get in contact with anyone. And there's still people waiting for their refund from last year. you
Yeah.
know and a lot of it is because a lot of things happen at the same time, so now they're filing 2020 tax returns and now they're busy again. So there was a lot of people that moved to New Jersey, and in New Jersey they still have the health act active. So
Mhm.
a lot of people there still have to file for their health insurance. So a lot of those people didn't file, and now they have to file it in order to get their refunds.
Oh, wow.
So that's another situation there, that when you move to a different state, they have different laws that if you didn't file it correctly, that can also delay your refund.
Right.
You know,
A lot of
yeah.
a lot of different factors. Now, before we go, Jeffrey, please give us more information on Commission ENT LLC. How can people learn more about your services and contact you for this tax season?
Yeah, so I'm on pretty much most social networks, on Facebook, Instagram. They all go by Commission Tax, and we have a team of about 6 members here, and you can contact us right now. Due to the COVID, we're pretty much handling everything remotely. So we'll do virtual interviews, and we'll collect all of the information via email, and then we'll do a closing video call, and then just email the tax returns. And it keeps everyone safe and streamlined, and answer all the questions that everyone may have. And then we take notes, with our conversations to see if there's anything else underlying that we can probably help that client with, whether it's to buy a house, whether it's to open up a business, whether there's tax returns in the past that might need to be reviewed. So we take our time with everyone, and we want to create relationships for the long run with everyone that we deal with.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jeffrey, for joining us today and sharing, all this important information about tax season this year. We appreciate
No,
you.
thank you so much, and then definitely invite me anytime.
Of course.
Mm.
Jeffrey
All right.
Almanzar is the senior tax partner at Commission ENT LLC. For more information, you can call Jeffrey at 646-232-4084 and follow at Commission Tax on social media. That's all for our show today. I'm your host, Sonyi Lopez, wishing you and your family safety and wellness now and always. Take care.